So welcome everyone to Preventing Substance Use Disorders Among Military Youth, the Military Youth Learning Community. Today we're going to be doing session 3, talking about what the different things with SAFE Project and also having a focus on SAFE veterans, one of their activities that they do with SAFE Project. So I'm your session moderator for today. I'm a project associate with SAMHSA's SMVF TA Center, which stands for Service Members, Veterans, and Their Families Technical Assistance Center. So we have to just kind of mention our disclaimer before we get started. The views, opinions, and content expressed in this presentation do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of SAMHSA, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So just going to go over our agenda really briefly. So we're going to move into some introductions. We'll have somebody presenting for one of our presenters for the first half. We'll have some time for some Q&A and facilitated discussion. Then we'll have our other presenter really talking on the second half, and again, some Q&A facilitated discussion. And then we will wrap up and adjourn. And there will be, for people who have done the different sessions or just today, there will be an evaluation to give us some feedback so we can improve upon these sessions. So just some of the ground information that we like to put out there when we start. It's really helpful if you have your name there. You know, sometimes it's like VHA and some symbols and we don't know your name. So it's really helpful, especially if we're having discussions, that we can see who you are. On Zoom, there is the ability to enable caption. We ask that you please use that captioning and don't use AI transcriptions to record the session. When you're discussing, we love engagement. So if we're having conversations, we would love if you are able to put your camera on. Also, just as a courtesy, if you're not speaking, please make sure you're muted. And when we have discussions, please raise your hand or type in the chat. So the objectives of today's session are going to be to discover workshops geared towards supporting military families and caregivers, to learn about the SAFE Project, which is working with civilians and VA hospitals to educate on opioids and discuss alternatives, and also to explore ways the SAFE Project is working to promote wellness among those who serve and their family members. So many of you already are familiar with this, but we ask please that in the chat, if you can just take a minute to put your name, agency, your state, territory, or tribe in the chat. It's also fun always if you want to add governor's challenge, mayor's challenge, and indicate those as well. With that, we have our poll question to kick off the meeting. So how familiar are you with SAFE Project? Very familiar, somewhat familiar, or you're not familiar? Give it a little bit for people to fill it in. Oh, 100% answered, so we can end the poll. Like, are you able to put that out for everyone to see?
It is currently sharing. I'm not sure. Here, let me try one more time.
Okay, maybe it's just on my end because it looks different. So can everyone see the results? Okay, awesome. So very familiar and somewhat familiar is about 20% each. And then not familiar is about 62%. So almost 2/3 are not familiar. So this is actually really great then. That means there's a lot that people can learn. For those who are somewhat familiar, obviously there's more you can learn. And even for those who are very familiar, who knows, maybe there's something new out there that you didn't know about. All right. With that, I will give it over to our presenters. So we have Kelly Nitzvicki, who is the Senior Director with Safe Veterans, and as well as Leslie Playa, who is the Executive Director with the Substance Use and Behavioral Health side. So I'm going to hand it over to the two of you to kick off this meeting.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for logging on today. I'm really excited to tell you about Safe Project, especially because there's many of you who are not familiar with our work. So this is fantastic. Thanks again for spending some time with us this afternoon. If you could advance slides, please. I want to tell you a little bit about our story of Safe Project and how we were founded. So if you look at this beautiful family picture here, you will see Admiral James Sandy Winnefeld with his family, so his wife Mary, their son LJ, as well as their son Jonathan. Safe Project was founded after Jonathan, who is in the blue suit there, his accidental overdose in 2017. Jonathan had battled addiction for a few years, and after a significant period of recovery, had a recurrence of use and ultimately died in a recovery dorm in college with Narcan on the shelf. And so what the Winnefelds decided was that they never wanted another family to go through this. They wanted to put together an organization that could help fight the addiction fatality epidemic. And I think one of the ways that this is really important is through their own journey as a family, as Jonathan had been in treatment, one of the things that they kept asking themselves was, how could this happen? How did we not know? And what you'll see here is Admiral Winnefeld, Sandy there. He was the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs, second in command at DOD. Top Gun pilot. Mary is an accountant by trade, has served on USO boards. And so this idea of how could we have not seen this? How did we not know? And then developing their understanding of addiction as a disease, addiction as mental illness, and the toll that it takes on the family. And so again, they wanted to ensure that no other family would go through this. And how do we give individuals tangible resources to move towards recovery and fight the epidemic that we're in? If you could move forward, please. So our mission, again, is to contribute in a tangible way to overcoming the addiction epidemic in the United States. Our vision is to support action that will prevent fatal drug overdoses and to otherwise mitigate substance use disorders' impact on our society. We don't want to shame anybody. We want to provide any resources possible to help build up communities and individuals to really fight whatever it is that their community is enduring right now. Move forward, please. Okay, so our core approach is to save a life every day. And how that looks is different depending on the situation. So yes, it is to literally save a life every day. We want to empower individuals with access to naloxone. We want to promote treatment and recovery through our treatment locator and our recovery housing locator. But we also want to do that through education as well. So can we give individuals specific education on systems change so that we can provide communities with a different structure in addressing these issues? We are collaborators, not competitors, so we would rather defer, refer, and join in the work of others. We don't want to duplicate efforts, but we want to supplement with what other people are doing, and we want to promote that work. We want to fill gaps in resources, services, and programs. That's very important to me. I'm a person who lives in Alabama, and so there are a ton of different resources down here, but then there's also a lack of access to care as well. So we want to ensure that we are identifying those gaps across the country and helping communities fill those. as well as ironing out seams by eliminating redundancies. So as I said earlier, we don't want to duplicate services. We want to make sure that we are supplementing the great work of other organizations and enhancing them in some way. Move forward, please. So when we were founded, what was discovered and determined is that if we have these 6 lines of operations, if we are addressing something in each of these areas, so to speak, then we actually have a chance to make tangible change. So if we're looking at public awareness, we're looking at anti-stigma campaigns or any sort of educational campaigns. If we look at full spectrum prevention, so not just primary prevention, a lot of us are always hit with primary prevention. And so really looking at the secondary, tertiary as well. Looking at prescriptions and medical response. How do hospitals, how do healthcare professionals actually respond to individuals with substance use disorders, or how can they mitigate any risk in emergency rooms? As well as work with law enforcement and criminal justice, especially individuals who are system impacted and who maybe need diversion programs instead of incarceration. Again, as I mentioned, treatment and recovery. We look at recovery as a many path journey. And so however that looks for individuals, but ensuring that they have the resources to make that decision, as well as family outreach and support. So what kind of care can we give to family members and loved ones who are navigating this with their loved one who is experiencing a substance use disorder? Move forward, please. So with those 6 lines, that's a lot, right? And so to simplify it, we decided that there were 4 specific areas that we could target that would help us differentiate the different types of communities that we have. So with safe campuses, I'll talk about in a moment, safe communities, safe workplaces, and last but definitely not least, safe veterans. What you'll notice through this presentation is I will probably skip a lot of the safe veterans information because Kelly will share about that later on. So if you could advance, please. Okay, first up is safe campuses. Advance one more time. Okay, within our safe campuses program, we look at really 2 different areas. So student development programs and staff development and technical assistance. When we say safe campuses, it's any sort of higher education institution, community colleges, just any sort of university. We want to ensure that there is some type of programming, whether it's collegiate recovery programming or some sort of alcohol and drug education support on campus, so that individuals can once again be armed with the specific tools needed to make informed decisions. So within our student development programs, we have our Collegiate Recovery Leadership Academy, which is a year-long fellowship for individuals in recovery, so that we can develop and cultivate future leaders from college campuses across the nation. We have our Safe Internship and Development Program, where we have students who are specifically interested in recovery or interested in the study of addiction and addiction services. We also have individuals who maybe are receiving education in public health, public administration. They learn about addiction recovery, nonprofit advocacy work while potentially receiving college credits. We also have an app called Reconnected. We're still in the development phase of this app, but it's a social networking app that started off for students and alumni in recovery to create and maintain recovery and professional connections. We're again in development for that, but that will be a broader scale for any sort of like recovery community organizations or treatment centers. And then overdose response, we offer virtual and in-person overdose response trainings. We also have a platform called Thinkific, which has an asynchronous learning opportunities, including fentanyl safety training and overdose response training as well. With staff development and technical assistance, we have something called our Summer Series Professional Development Program. It's actually about to start in the next couple of weeks. It's an 8-week professional development program that is cost-free. And it's technical assistance that's specifically developed to bring together a community of professionals from campuses around the country to collaborate on solving the overdose crisis and expanding recovery support. In 2023, which was our last summer series program, 90% of those individuals did not have a fully fledged collegiate recovery program or resources on campus for individuals either seeking recovery, in recovery, or any sort of educational support there in terms of substance use disorder. So that's something that we offer every summer. If you are in the college or education space, on our website, we do have the summer series application. We would love for you to join us. We're also working on a collegiate opioid overdose prevention checklist with NASPA and the Higher Ed Center. And so developing this checklist for colleges and universities so that they can ensure that they are offering the specific resources needed to combat overdose on campus, as well as program development and implementation. So as I said earlier, if individuals want to create a collegiate recovery program, so a program that offers support services for individuals in recovery or individuals seeking recovery, we can help that. We can look at either establishing that program or providing individual support to evaluate that existing program or improve in some way. The Association for Recovery in Higher Education, so ARHE, which is one of the big names in collegiate recovery, it's a great partner of ours. So we do a lot of work in conjunction with them to increase collegiate recovery across the nation. Next, please. Okay, so just a couple of stats for you. So we serve, actually this number is wrong, about 500 unique institutions through our Safe Campuses programming. We've also distributed about 3,500 doses of naloxone, almost 15,000 drug disposal kits, as well as fentanyl test strips. So this is something that we help colleges and universities build policies and procedures around as well. And 30% of our campuses are minority serving institutions, 13% are community colleges, and now we have about 7,000 individuals trained in overdose response and allyship. I believe that number, due to some recent marketing and jumps that we've had with the White House Challenge for naloxone and overdose response, I think we may be closer to about 10,000 with that. Forward, please. Okay, so next we have Safe Communities. And with Safe Communities, the goal is to partner with localities, states, and community leaders across the nation. You can move forward. And we do this through really two different areas. So community programs and support. We have two distinct programs within that initiative. One is Bridging Prevention and Recovery, which is an evidence-based training program designed to break down the prevention and recovery silos and assist both entities with the tools to work together. This is an evidence-based practice, so we use the strategic prevention framework, social determinants of health, health equity, and quality of life research. We also have something called IFIPers, which is the Integrated Forensic Peer Recovery Specialist Training, which this is a training for peer recovery specialists who work with individuals who are justice involved across many different settings. Within our Safe Communities portfolio, we have our Safe Choices program, which is tailored prevention and education for youth and young adults. So specifically, that's where we have our No Shame education program, where we teach about what shame is, what stigma is, and how that impacts individuals, how that can further mental health and substance use disorder, and ways that we can combat that so that we can get people the help that they need. That includes a lot of education on addiction as a disease and again, how to utilize different resources to move forward and make different choices. With our Safe Choices program, we also utilize, excuse me, storytelling. So some sort of narrative disruption, storytelling so that people can use their stories as a way of strength, use their own voices, develop their own voice so that they know the help that they need. They can ask for things, they can advocate for themselves differently. Within Safe Communities as well, we have access to care and resources. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a safe locator. This looks at treatment, family support, and recovery housing. So our treatment locator actually pulls from SAMHSA. So as SAMHSA information is updated, so as ours, we have a crowdsourced family support locator as well as recovery housing. So looking at different recovery housing locations across the country. We also have a platform called Safe Solutions. This helps with assisting communities in establishing programs to address, prevent, or address addiction and provide resources needed through the continuum of care. So with that, we have a playbook that can, again, help communities identify what their needs are, what their gaps are, and we can help walk through those gaps with different solutions. You'll see this in all of our portfolios. There is a level of naloxone, fentanyl test strip, and drug deactivation device distribution. We want to make sure, again, that people have the tools necessary and whatever harm reduction tools those may be, we want to provide those. Next, please. So just a couple of different numbers. We have impacted around 45,000 students and educators with our Safe Communities programming, 115,000 drug disposal kits distributed, about 1,500 doses of naloxone. At this point, around 20,000 people have accessed our treatment, family support, and recovery housing locator. We love that. I know it can be really difficult to identify a treatment center. And so if we can help just a little bit with that, we're happy to do so. Next slide, please. Okay, so our Safe Workplaces initiative looks at providing resources to both the employee and the employer. Next slide, please. Thank you. So within Safe Workplaces, we have kind of, again, two buckets, training and education, as well as technical assistance and support. So with training and education, right now we've done a lot of work within the construction industry. So we have a specific partnership with a National Association of Home Builders that has allowed us to tailor specific resources to the construction industry. We've seen that 25% of all workplace overdoses has come from construction and come from those construction sites. So we've developed naloxone awareness training, different videos designed specifically for construction workers. We've also developed a workplace naloxone toolkit that can, again, help with different policies and procedures to put things in place so that you can have greater access on site. We've done various conference presentations as well as business journal outreach and education around the opioid epidemic and substance use and misuse as well. With technical assistance and support, we do individual programs for union trades, again, naloxone and drug deactivation distribution. So how can we put naloxone on different sites? Cal Bayer, I see your chat, Cal Byer is our newest senior director for Safe Workplaces. So yes, we love Cal very, very much. He's been so integral in developing out this work. So we love him. He has been on the road a lot for us recently. So we help individual sites develop those procedures around where do they have Narcan, how can they do training, what happens if the Narcan doesn't fit in your first aid kit. So different things like that. Again, workplace in-person presentations. And we're also developing an operator's guide to the Recovery Ready Workplace program. If you're not aware, ONDCP released a pretty lengthy toolkit on establishing recovery ready workplaces. And so we have developed this kind of like supplemental operator's guide to help individuals navigate that. Because if you are not in the recovery space or you're not aware of substance use challenges and how that impacts your business, or if you want to do this work, it can be really overwhelming to look at 100 and something page guide on what to do. So next slide, please. Okay, so right now we have trained more than 4,500 industry leaders and supervisors in substance use, mental health, and overdose awareness in 26 different states. We've distributed around, it's probably closer to 300 doses of naloxone now, as well as 11,000 drug disposal kits. So whether it's those little pouches or the little pill bottles with the drug deactivation powders in them, we've been able to connect individuals to those, as well as done some education and awareness for Chamber of Commerce leaders at the national and state level. Next, please. Okay, Safe Veterans. So Kelly is going to talk more about Safe Veterans. So just a really broad overview. Our Safe Veterans initiative is about supporting active duty service members, veterans, their families, and caregivers. Move forward, please. I'm going to have you move forward once again because Kelly's going to talk about both of these. But I do want to brag a little bit on Kelly's, the numbers for Kelly's program. So our military wellness program that Kelly will discuss provides skills necessary to identify triggers and manage stress. And here is just some feedback that we've received from participants, which I really love, is that after our training, 90% of them can now use coping skills more effectively. In terms of recognizing signs of stress, those improved by 55%. 98% have tools to prevent drug and alcohol misuse. I think this quote is really important. This is one of the reasons why we do this work. I lost my spouse and my whole world was upside down. I had no coping skills. The course gave me the tools to use to at least see a light in all my blackness. And that's what we want. We want to provide solutions to individuals. We can't always make things completely better, but how can we make them different in some way? Next slide, please. Okay. I threw a lot of information at you all.
All right, yeah, so did anybody have any questions? They can put them in the chat, or if they want to raise their hand at this point. All right. If anyone thinks of anything else, you can put it in the chat. If not, for right now, we have our discussion question. The first one. So this is for everyone here. What is your state, community, or territory doing to provide education and wellness supports regarding opioids? If anyone wants to share what their state, community, or territory is currently doing. All right, well, people are maybe typing in the chat or thinking if they're gonna go off mute and share. Leslie or Kelly, do you know of any kind of examples that you can share where you've worked with different states, communities, or territories in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a pretty broad question. So I think it depends on your location, but I know that we've done different wellness fairs or different wellness events. Recently, within our Safe Choices portfolio, we were able to work with individuals in Seminole County in Florida to provide education not only to the different high schools in the area around um, reducing stigma and empowering individuals. Within that, there was also Narcan trainings and different community fairs and family events as well. So that's just an example of something that we've done. Again, we really want to make sure that we are coming alongside communities and um, tailoring specific events for them.
Thank you for sharing that. I saw Sandy had her hand up, and then went down.
Yeah, yes, I'm from Harford County. So some of the wellness things that we've tried to do here in the county is collaborating really amongst the whole community. So we do a lot of community events where we not only are teaching about substance use and we are also teaching especially our youth about peer pressure, good coping skills, how to deal with that stuff, refusal skills, all of that collaborative together. And one of our big initiatives, along with the veterans, has been our first responders and the different wellness things that we're trying to do with them. We just recently provided a wellness mobile app called Lighthouse, which is available to them and their families 24/7. And also the mental health first aid and the QPR specific training for different, entities such as the veterans, the first responders, our older adult population, that kind of stuff. So we try to look at substance use as in a whole, as a preventative, not only in the education of substance use, but preventative in helping people recognize, that in order to prevent substance use is you have to have wellness of mental health as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Leslie or Kelly, did you have anything you wanted to share on that, or? No? Okay. I see a few things in the chat. So I just want to make sure I get those out there for anyone that's not following the chat as well. Yvonne shared that their local library actually gives out free education to the community and provides Narcan to anyone asks. So kind of similar as well, like Sandy, you're talking about the community getting involved in different groups, supporting getting that out. Again, I'll try to get the name right. I'm sorry if I don't say your name wrong or right. Unwan sorry. Feel free to chime in and tell me if I'm spelled how to pronounce your name. But you kind of shared about coalition building efforts, and again, that really everybody coming together and different groups working to support the efforts. Alexander with the Nebraska Air National Guard shared that based on regional funding, the 6 regions in Nebraska are providing ongoing training courses to work with community organizations. Funds are also used to purchase information, advertisements directed at the general public. So billboards, theater, previews, and television. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a lot of, so you must have, that's pretty neat, actually. It'd be interesting if you could also go off mute and talk a little bit more on that if you were interested. And then Jen shared overdose and naloxone trainings, education on both illicit and illicit substance use and community health fairs. And then Alex added again, in Region 5 of Nebraska, the educational sources are open to both licensed and frontline employees. Invitations are open to all businesses, including nonprofits, profits, foods, and shelter services. Everyone's very talkative in the chat. Feel free to also raise your hand if you want to come off mute. Let's see, Susan shared. a lot of education occurring alongside of opioid settlement activities across the state in each of the 100 counties and 17 municipalities. And these will continue to grow forward as plans are approved and rolled out. So they have campus and vets are included along with all the ages and abilities and healthcare first responders. And these interface with statewide suicide prevention and wellness resilient efforts. We have also, and then Jenna also shared they also have media campaigns partnering with many multi sector community partners, coalitions, community groups. All right, so for our Nebraska, they also have QR codes for their ads. And okay. And then North Carolina Governors and Mayors Challenge efforts continue as well in the Milvet Farm families. All right. So thank you, everybody. That was a lot of information. So it sounds like there's already a lot of great stuff going on. So I think that I should stop talking and let Kelly give more information that can be utilized in these efforts. So I will hand it over to you, Kelly.
Hey, thanks. Next slide. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you guys are calling in from. I'm Kelly Nitzwicki, and if you had a chance to look at my bio, I think it went out in the email, you'll see I served 29.5 years in the military. But I wanted to take a moment and tell you some things that are not in my bio, but are deeply rooted in my military journey, which makes me even more excited about today's presentation. During my first enlistment, I entered into a dual status marriage, which just means 2 military members married together. We were both on active duty, and then eventually I left active duty after I gave birth to my daughter. And I became involved in the spouse program at my husband's organization. Missing the military, I joined the National Guard. I see we have some National Guard members on here. Woo-hoo! And then following my divorce, I decided to go back full-time in the military to serve out the rest of my career as a single parent. Unfortunately, my daughter was geographically separated from her father for 18 years. And then currently I'm helping my own mother navigate caregiver benefits. She cares for my dad full-time, as a Vietnam veteran. And that system is quite cumbersome. So my point of sharing this today is that I get it. Military and spouses have lots of stresses and transitions that we go through to navigate. So even if your experiences are a little different than mine, you'll learn today how Safe Projects programs are geared towards all of our unique experiences. So next slide. Safe Projects, you'll see on the slide, I'm just going to read it to you guys. Safe Projects workshops are designed to support military members, veterans, their families, and caregivers, regardless of discharge type. Our workshops aim to address the unique challenges faced by the military-connected community and empower individuals with tools and resources they need to thrive. Individuals who attend our workshops are provided with a safe space for open discussion, skill building, and connected with the military community shared experiences. Next slide. Great. All right, so Safe Project has 4 programs dedicated to the military community. 2 of them I'm not going to really touch on today is an all recovery call, which happens every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And later, if you look at our website, you'll find all the information on that, as well as technical assistance. We also offer the programs that Leslie talked about in communities, workplaces, and campuses. But for today's workshop or today's meeting, we're going to talk about our workshops that we offer, which is Unpacking Your Emotional Ruck and Military Wellness. Unpacking Your Emotional Ruck workshop, that was designed to provide individuals with the tools and strategies to address and manage emotional burdens and trauma that they may be carrying. The term ruck, as we know in the military, refers to a backpack that carries our essential supplies for our exercises or deployments or marches that we go on. In that context of emotional ruck, we're symbolizing the weight of past experiences, stresses, or traumas that individuals might carry with them. So this workshop, we aim to create a safe and supportive environment where participants can explore their emotional baggage and learn how to effectively manage and cope with it. Through guided exercises, discussions, and group activities, the participants in this workshop are encouraged to identify and acknowledge their emotions, understand the impact of the experiences on their well-being, and provide practical strategies for emotional resilience and healing. The key components of this workshop include mindfulness practices, emotional awareness exercises, dialectical behavior techniques, and peer support mechanisms. By unpacking this emotional ruck, the participants gain insight into their emotion patterns and triggers. It also cultivates a self-awareness and self-compassion to build a healthier coping mechanism for navigating life's challenges. So I just kind of wanted to share a little bit that each participant who participates in this workshop does receive a workbook. And we collaborated with Rochelle Fuchs, who is a licensed clinical social worker. But also what's great about Rochelle is also a Marine Corps veteran. She is still married to an active duty service member who is about to retire and actually become a police officer. But she was also named Spouse of the Year in 2019 at Fort Bragg, which is now called Fort Liberty. Rochelle, we tailor this class to the organization that it's being provided to, and it's tailored anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, depending on the organizational needs. So this is the Unpacking Your Emotional Ruck. Next, we're going to talk about the military wellness workshop. That military wellness workshop is a little different. It's evidence-based and it's geared towards supporting the mental health and emotional well-being of military personnel, veterans, their families, and caregivers. Initially, this workshop was created for the military personnel and veterans, but we saw that family members and caregivers who also took the class had a great experience with it. So we've opened it up to everybody to take this class, anybody who's military connected. This workshop recognizes the unique challenges and stressors that individuals in the military community often face, which includes deployments, combat exposures, frequent relocations, and separation from their families and loved ones. The workshop aims to provide practical tools, resources, and support systems to enhance resilience, promote mental health awareness, and foster a sense of community amongst military members and their families. Some of the key parts of this program is mental health education, which is offered through resources for the common mental health issues that are prevalent in the military community, such as moral injuries, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and substance use. Participants learn to recognize the signs and symptoms, of their mental health challenges, and they understand the importance of seeking help when it's needed. We also look towards coping strategies by focusing on teaching effective coping strategies for managing stress, trauma, and difficult emotions. This may include some mindfulness techniques, relaxation exercises, and stress management tools tailored to the unique experiences of military life. We also provide peer support connection by creating a supportive environment where participants connect with one another who understand their experiences. And that's actually a central aspect of this workshop. The peer support networks can provide validation, understanding, and encouragement, and it reduces the feeling of isolation by promoting a sense of belonging. And it's a real big part of this workshop is providing resources, not only national resources, but local resources to the area in which the workshop is provided. So we provide resources that that military community, which include mental health, peer support groups, crisis hotlines, and other online resources that are easily accessible to participants at the workshop. And lastly, the military wellness is a resilience building workshop. The key focus on this workshop is a lot on this. It empowers participants to bounce back from their challenges and setbacks through interactive exercises and discussions. The participants learn resilience building skills such as problem solving, positive thinking, and goal setting. This workshop as well, participants, I don't know if you can see it, they're provided with a workbook. It was funded by Walmart and the Wounded Warriors Project. It is an 8-hour course that participants attend, and we collaborated with Joel Bennett at the Owls Wellness and Learning Systems to create this evidence-based program, which is a really great program that we have to offer. Now I'm going to dive in on the next slide on how these programs more importantly relate to families in the military and caregivers. Sorry, thanks. So as you can see on this slide, we're strengthening bonds, we're giving support and technical assistance. The way the workshops strengthen bonds is we provide a platform for the military families and caregivers to come together and share their experiences. By participating in these workshops, whether you participate in the emotional ruck or the military wellness workshop, individuals will realize that they are not alone in their challenges. It fosters a sense of camaraderie and understanding among the participants. Also provides to strengthen bonds, empathy and connection through discussion and shared narratives. In these workshops, they provide this empathy and connection by an understanding of each other's own experiences. This shared empathy strengthens the bonds and as the participants feel understood and supported by others who can relate to their struggles. And there's also, to strengthen the bonds, we provide group activities in the workshop that are aimed towards building and fostering trust and collaboration. These activities encourage teamwork, cooperation, further strengthening bonds among participants as they work together towards common goals. We also provide peer support. As you heard in the previous slides, we provide resources, and one of the resources is connecting people with peer support. The workshops facilitates a formation of peer support networks within the military community and to help military families and caregivers learn more about what support is available for them. The networks provide valuable resources for emotional support, encouragement, and practical advice, helping participants navigate challenges more effectively. And then, like I said earlier, the community resource is another way that we get participants connected with support. Includes information on mental health counseling, support groups, if they need financial assistance, who they can go to get that, and other resources that are tailored towards the needs of military families and caregivers. We also provide transitional assistance, which is a really big part of our military lives. I feel like we're always transitioning from one thing to another, whether it's a deployment or a move or anything like that. So we definitely included this in both of our workshops. Navigating the transition is just frequently used in the military. Since we do, like I just said, the deployments, relocations, and the transitions, both workshops are equipped participants with the practical skills and coping strategies to navigate these transitions more smoothly. This includes resilience building techniques, stress management tools, and communication strategies to help families and caregivers adapt to the change. We also provide some guidance on transition planning and resources for managing the transitions more effectively. This can involve information on education and employment opportunities, housing options, healthcare resources to support families and caregivers during those times of transition. And then we try to
just want to check, is it me that froze or is it Kelly?
No, it looks like we may have lost Kelly. I'm
I
trying
think
to
we
send her a
lost,
direct message.
yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, please. Gotta love technical difficulty.
Looks like she's going to try and rejoin the meeting.
Her power went out.
Oh, that would do it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I see there's a question in the chat about peer specialists. Are the peers through this network exclusively military or peers as hired like to know more about those employment opportunities. Yeah, so I think anyone that has kind of that dual lived experience we love, but in terms of the peers in the workshops, we're specifically leaning on the peer participants. But we actually are building out a training. It's technically our IFIPers training that is, oh, I saw another comment come through. With our peer training for IFIPers, we are building out specific programming so that we have individuals who are military connected that go through that peer training. So we're still building that. Yes, service members, vets, family, yes.
I'm sorry, I'm back. I had a power outage and I was able to connect my phone to my computer to get Wi-Fi. I did not expect that to happen. I hardly ever have power outages, but I guess they say that's Murphy's Law, or I don't know what law it is, but of course.
Right. Kelly, I
All
just
right.
answered a question in the chat, so you're fine.
Perfect. Sorry, I mean to like, but continued support. So Safe Project aims towards continuing support by having participants connect with each other, and also us providing with resources to help them future navigate their transitions, since we know there's so many different transitions that the military goes through. Next slide, focusing on the family members and caregivers. Yes, thank you. There's no real reason why that top box on the top left is a little bit smaller than the others. It just happened that way when we did a little conversion. But self-care strategies is also one of the key components of both of our workshops. We provide practical skills and coping strategies to help families and caregivers navigate the unique stressors and transitions associated with the military life. This includes some self-management, stress management techniques, communication skills, problem-solving strategies, and self-care practices. We try to equip all of our families with these tools that helps them empower them to effectively manage challenges and maintain resilience in the face of adversity. And I don't know how I could say this, but I just want to foot stomp the access to resources and services. This is a big part of our workshops. So it includes, like I said before, information to mental health counseling, support groups, anything in the community. We try to connect families with these resources and workshops that allow them to access the support that they need to address their specific unique needs and challenges. We do go out and we look for anything in the community that offers military resources or military opportunities. So that way, when we come to these workshops, we're better prepared to speak to what might be available within those communities that these participants can gain access to. We also empower them for navigating the systems. We know that there's no system that's easy. So we try to make sure that families and caregivers become advocates for themselves and their loved ones. By providing education, resources, and support during these workshops, we help families navigate these complex systems, access benefits and services. Like I said earlier, my mother is going through the caregiver thing, and it's a beast. So we try to make sure that any of those burdens when navigating any of these systems are less burdensome. So we try to connect people with somebody who's been there, done that, and can assist them with their journey and make sure it's done more effectively. And then the peer support and networking. We facilitate peer support and networking opportunities for the military families and caregivers by connecting others with shared similar experiences that help them it does provide some validation and empathy and a sense of community. The peer support networks offer opportunities for shared stories, exchanging advice, and providing mutual encouragement, and then reducing feelings of isolation and fostering a supportive environment. And that's a lot of what our workshops do. Next slide. accessing our workshops is pretty simple. You can go on our website and we have on registration. The hosting organization, we work with them to make sure that there's flyers with QR codes, so that way they could send out to their organization and community to allow people to participate. The participant will go online and they'll fill out a registration form that will include basic information that we might need and the hosting organization would need as well. Scheduling, we publish our schedule online. So if you go to our website, you'll see the different courses that we'll be offering. We ask that participants register in advance. However, we never really turn anybody away if they just show up at the door. We're always welcoming and love participants to come as they are. And we're really flexible depending on the demand and availability. We pretty much, I don't think we've ever said no to trying to get a workshop in place for somebody that needed it or community. The cost of our workshops, they're often offered free of charge or they're low cost to the participants. If there's a financial need associated with the fees, people work with us and we figure it out. That way we can make sure that these workshops do get to the organizations and needs that meet the communities. Accessibilities, we ensure that these are accessible to everybody with disabilities or accessible needs. That even includes military bases. We're not going to offer this course on the military base if there's no way that somebody without a military card can get access to the workshop if it's open up to the community. So we make sure that accessibility is for all participants in these workshops. And then we do community outreach to enhance the accessibility of the project, of SAFE's project engagement, which makes sure that the underserved and marginal communities within the military population are getting the information on this. And we do that through sending it through the BFWs and any military connected organization in the area that might have connections with people within that community where someone's hosting the workshop. Sorry, a little tongue-tied. And the last slide. Sorry. In conclusion, SAFE's Products Veteran Portfolio is dedicated to supporting the well-being of the military personnel, of their veterans, their families, and caregivers. Through our Safe Veterans Workshops, we aim to provide nurturing environment where the unique needs of the military community are understood, acknowledged, and addressed. Our commitment to tailoring these workshops to the specific challenges faced by military families and caregivers underscores our belief in our power of community, empathy, and support. By unpacking emotional burdens, promoting wellness, and fostering resilience, we strive to empower individuals within the military community to thrive in face of adversity. As we continue our mission, we remain steadfast in our dedication to serving those who have served. Together, we can create a future where the military families and caregivers feel supported, understood, and empowered to live their best lives. I just want to thank everybody for being here and joining us on this journey of sharing these workshops so that way we can get more people to healing, resilience, and hope. Next slide. And that sums up our 2 workshops that we offer for the military connected community.
Thank you so much. I wanted to, before we move too far forward, I want to see if there's any questions that came up while they're fresh in people's minds. A lot of resources that were shared. I have kind of some curiosity for the different resources. Like, how do people, is it just they go on your website and they can get the books and apply for the classes? Like, how does that go? Are they timed?
Chantel, great.
Go ahead.
Sorry. A great question. I did turn off my camera because I guess my phone hotspot is not as great. You see my email and Leslie's email here. Feel free to reach out to us if you have additional questions. But the workbooks are provided to the students when they come to the workshop. And as far as registering, what was the second part of that question? Sorry.
Oh, I was just curious if it's like one of those things where like you have to register, like someone can register individual, or if it has to be like a community, like a group that does it.
So I want to say it depends, but typically, the way it goes traditionally is an individual registers. No one's voluntold or mandatorily in any of our workshops.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so to kind of go further with that, typically what happens, anybody can go to any of those trainings, but they are typically hosted by organizations or specific facilities in different parts of the country. So like next week, we're doing one at Clemson. We have been involved in a grant in Virginia where we went to different locations. So anybody can attend, but typically an organization will host a training.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, I will move to our next slide, and then we have another question for everybody here. All right, so we have another facilitated discussion. So just asking everybody that's here, is your state, community, or territory currently using safe veteran programs? So it looks like about 40-ish% had at least were somewhat familiar. And if you are, we would definitely love to hear how you're using it. And if you're not, was there anything that you heard that you're interested in maybe integrating into work that you're already doing? Feel free to raise your hand or use the chat. All right, Jen shared, not that she's aware of, but also it looks like Jen is new to the area and currently living and working in, but it sounds like a fantastic program. So maybe some potential to reach out.
Yeah, so I do want to put out there, if you did look at our website, we are offering Unpacking Your Emotional Ruck in Clemson on Friday, the 24th. If anybody lives in that area or knows anybody in that area, please do go ahead and share. Clemson's actually providing a wonderful lunch, and it's 2 different sessions. One will be in the morning and one will be in the afternoon, and it is 2 hours long.
Awesome. And Crystal is excited to share about it.
Thank you, Crystal. We appreciate it. Yeah. Clemson supports Safe Project in many different ways, and they love having us go there to provide for their community.
Thank you. Anything going on in Florida anytime that you know of?
We can go down to Florida.
Yeah. So in the Panhandle, currently we could, like Leslie just said, yes, we can go down to Florida, but in Florida, we're currently working possibly this summer in Orlando to partner with Project Rebirth to provide military wellness. Yes, Pennsylvania, we've gone to Drexel several times, and Drexel is one of our bigger hosts in Pennsylvania. But it's not saying, Crystal, you can't host something in Pennsylvania.
Has anybody used the Safe Veteran Program or know of anybody that's used the Safe Veteran Program? Everyone just wants to know what's going on. We need like a map of all the different things going on. What about Maryland?
We have not done anything in Maryland recently, but hey, what about Maryland? Come on. We'll come do we'll come do any type of programming you want there.
Also, we are looking, I know you're in Maryland, but we are looking to possibly provide military wellness in Nova, which is the northern part of Virginia. So I'm sure the Maryland person who asked that, Sandy, probably is familiar with that term. On June 26th. Possibility, strong possibility in Nova. There will be a military wellness workshop on June 26th. Stay tuned, and or send me an email. And if it does come to fruition, I'll let you know.
Yes, we are absolutely willing to come to California. Happy to do that. There's a question about the length of time for the workshop. The military wellness workshop is a full day. Unpacking your emotional ruck, as Kelly mentioned, it can be customized, so it can be anywhere between, did you say, Kelly, 2 to 6 hours?
Yeah, that's what I said. It's between 2 to 6 hours, depending on that organizational's needs. And we work with Rochelle Fuchs to make sure that it's what the organizational wants and what she's going to deliver meets their needs. And I'll put her name in the chat in case you guys want to look up Rochelle. She's amazing.
All right, and it looks like Crystal wants more information as well. I was actually thinking I'm gonna like going quickly back to the slide with your emails, and then I don't know if either of you, if I missed it, if you put your emails on the chat.
I was about to do that right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. And I'll show this slide really quickly if anyone wants to take it down as well. Oh, they're both there. Thank you. So it sounds like there's definitely a lot of interest in engaging this. And I definitely think that this was a lot of really great information and the courses seem very interesting. I'm even curious now, maybe I can try to attend the Safe Project course as well. I don't know if Connecticut has any going on, but if there is, I'd be interested in checking it out myself. All right. So I do also I want to thank both of you again, and make sure I get this right for everybody who is curious, who maybe missed the pronunciations. I got support on this. So thank you, Leslie Playa, and thank you, Kelly Nedzwicki, for coming here and talking to us about Safe Project and specifically really telling us about the veteran work as well that's going on. And I don't know, did either of you want to give some closing words?
We just really appreciate the time and attention today. And please, 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 if you have any questions, reach out to us, whether it's involving Safe Veterans or some of our other programming. We are happy to help in any way.
Thank you. And our homework is to check out the Safe Veterans page,
Yeah.
safeproject.us. And there's one more slide. So this is the end of this learning community series. So if people want to give us, fill out the evaluation, let us know how these different sessions were. If you only went to one, just answer for the one. But it's really helpful to guide us so that we're able to give good technical assistance in the future. And who knows, maybe we can bring them back someday if you know, if that was something that you want more information on as well. And thank you for putting the link in the chat. All right, and any last questions before we end the session? Once, twice. All right, so thank you so much for your time, and I will let everybody go home a little bit early. So thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Chantel.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.